the ants and the bees. We need one another. We are communal. We need to work together. One of the problems that went on at the church of Corinth, they had some divisive issues. They had a lot of things that could divide. And you know, anytime you've got people, you're going to have issues. Anytime you have people who come from various walks, various backgrounds, various things that brought them to the Lord, we all didn't take the same track to get to Jesus. But thank God we all got to Jesus. And one of the things that has to happen, so we all come out of whatever experience we've had, but it brought us to that cross at Calvary. And so what was happening was there were some divisive issues. And there were even some doctrinal divisions. And you know, one of the things that I realized, a lot of times we don't know what it is we believe. We know we believe, but we don't know what, and we don't know why. And those are things that have to be taught to us. And when the more you teach and the longer you work together, the more you grow together. And you've heard me before mention about folks that have been married a long time. Sometimes they can finish each other's sentences. They can look at each other and know what the other's thinking. They can know what somebody likes or dislikes. You ever seen a wife make a husband's plate and somebody else say, don't put that on there. He's not going to eat that. Or a husband will say, oh, no, don't bring that in here. My wife ain't going to have that. That's because you've gotten to know one another. And so as the body of Christ, once we get to know each other, and once we start working together, we will become more one. We will become more of a unit, which Christ wants us. And marriage is supposed to be a mirror image of what a relationship with Him is like. And that is, you grow together. So, here's what was going on in the church of Corinth. They had several issues that were causing a problem. Number one, there were some show-off issues. I didn't hear this. I know that was deep word. There were some show-off issues. And you know, I've not been in one church in my life that there weren't some show-off issues. Whether it be from who could out-preach somebody, who could out-pray somebody, who could out-sing somebody, who could out-usher somebody. There was always some kind of show-off issue. Amen. And then it made others feel a little envious. It made others feel like they didn't measure up because they couldn't do it like so-and-so. You know, and I don't see where God made a stamp of how we are all supposed to be exactly like the other. Don't see that anywhere. And if you go in a store and look at glasses on a shelf, none of them glasses look the same, shape the same, but they will all do one thing. They will hold liquid, all things being equal. And the liquid will take the shape of the vessel. And it's not about the vessel, what it looks like, what it's shaped like, but it's about what's inside the vessel. Man looks on the outside, but God looks on the heart. They had some show-off issues. Some were showing off because they had a gift that somebody else didn't have. So they felt that made them more spiritual, more holy. And those things, when you get to that place where you start feeling, well, I'm better than so-and-so because I can play the piano. And nobody else can play like me. But you know what? Even if I don't play the piano, it doesn't mean that there won't be music in the house of the Lord. I can sing better than so-and-so. But you know, when I look at the Psalms, it didn't say anything about having had a music degree. It didn't say anything about having to be able to know three-part harmony, but it does say, make a joyful noise unto the Lord. And even if you can't carry a tune in the bucket, I do believe that there is a filter between here and heaven and the song that is in your heart. If you off key, by the time it gets to heaven, it's a sweet melodious sound because it's run through the blood filter before it hits the throne of God. I believe that if you don't know how to properly put words together in the King's English to get a prayer through, I believe that through that blood filter, before that prayer reaches heaven, every I is dotted and every T is crossed, and it is grammatically correct so that God can understand and dispatch the answer. We allow things to divide us. What we ought to do is look at the things that unite us. Is that we were all once lost in sin. Not the same sin, but we were all lost in sin, and Jesus took us in. They had some doctrinal and spiritual divisions. And some were walking around saying, well, I got saved because of Paul's sermon. And Paul preaches better than Apollos. I like the way Paul puts it together. Somebody said, well, no, Apollos puts it together the way I like it, and I think Apollos' message is better. And some were saying, well, I like Brother Reverend so-and-so, and I like the message that Reverend this put together, or that put together. But it's not about who delivers the message. It's whether or not you hear the message that has been delivered to bring about a change in your life. Right. Come on now. I go. Dr. Taylor and I tease each other saying, when I grow up, I won't be just like him. He says, well, no, but the way you put a sermon together, but you know what? We tease each other, but you know what? God gives him the message for him, the way he delivers it, and God gives the message to me, the way I deliver it. But the main thing is the message needs to be about the death, the burial, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Amen. And it's not about Jackson, it's not about Taylor, it's not about Lambda, it's about Jesus Christ and him crucified, who is now seated at the right hand of God. Thank you. Thank you. Breathe. So when all of this was going on in Corinth, showing off brought division. And the showing off also led to jealousy. And the jealousy led to ill feeling. And Paul had to address the issues not once, but twice. In two different letters, he had to address some of the various things that were going on and redirect folks to focus on the cause of Christ. And so he ends up saying, he says, well, first of all, he says, now, you're saying that some are saying I'm from Paul and I'm from Apollos and I believe through him and I believe through that. It's not about who led you in, but the fact that you are in. It's not about whose message is the one that is right, because if it's about Jesus Christ, they're both right. They just come in a different form. That's right. And so he says, all of us played a part in it. It says I planted the seed, and Apollos watered it, but God gives the increase. You can put the seed in the ground, and if you put the seed in the ground and do nothing else, nothing's going to grow. Right. You can pour water all day long, but if the seed's not in the ground, nothing's going to grow there but weeds. Right. But when the seed is in the ground and it is watered properly in fertile soil, it is God that causes it to grow. I've not seen anybody go down and massage a seed to make the roots go down and the stalks come up. Amen. But I do know that when you do what you have to do, and the sun sun comes out and shines down, and the seed germinates down there in the ground, and the next thing you know, here comes the plant. Well, that's the same thing that Paul start looking at God. Because if it's not about Him, it's about nothing. You know, I've heard people say sometimes, if Reverend so-and-so leave, I'm leaving too. You know, I had a friend once that heard some folks say that, well, you leave here, I'm leaving and following you. We just go start somewhere else. So, he and his wife left and they started somewhere else. And a year later, they had two members. The two of them. Everybody that said they were going to leave, stayed. What's the phrase? Something fishy in there. You see, the whole issue was it was always about them and not about God. And I'm a firm believer that when the Lord calls me home, Wainwright will go on business as usual. You may or may not mourn my death. You might be saying, I'm glad you did, congrats on you. I don't know. But I do know this. The Sunday after I'm gone, there'll be somebody here. Yep. And give you a year, 6 months, a year, 5 years. You remember when Reverend, what was his name? Yeah, he used to pastor this church. Lord, didn't he preach a sermon like that once? It's not about me. It's about God. And I don't care what happens. It always has to be about God. I'd be scared to have something always about me. And I know there are places where it's centered around the preacher, and I get scared of that kind of stuff. Because usually, knowing God like I know Him, He is a jealous God. Amen. And it has to be about Him and His Word and His righteousness, and it has to be about that and that alone. Amen.